This is the Extra Point Podcast from Arizona's family.
Our next guest, I don't believe lives in the Valley of the Sun, but his journalism is blowing up right now all over Arizona, talking Cardinals, talking Phoenix Suns. Let's check in with Jonathan Jones in Boston. I don't know whether to start with the Suns or the Cardinals. Let's start with the first thing that you wrote that made headlines this weekend about Steve Keim. That he's no longer going to be the GM of the Arizona Cardinals. So as you kind of look at that, how big a shockwaves do you think that sends throughout the NFL?
Well, the expectation is certainly that he's not going to return to his post whenever he returns from his medical leave of absence, and obviously, hopefully, he gets well soon. I don't know that it is a huge shock around the NFL, though, because, earlier in the season, I had reported that despite the contract extensions for both he and Cliff Kingsbury, that there were real leadership issues within that organization, and that owner Michael Bidwell would have to take a very hard look at the future of the franchise and the offseason. So as the Cardinals season has gone the way that it has, as you well know, but as well as just sort of the misses that have been in the draft and free agency, how this team can't build off of that winning season, how there's only been one good year since 2015. The prevailing thought around the league was that it could be curtains for Steve Keim, and certainly the way that this season has gone, that is a very, very strong belief around the league.
Certainly, we've lived it out here and have to live it once again on Sunday night. At least Tom Brady's coming to town, and we have something to kind of get excited about, a marquee matchup there. But as you look at the Cardinals now and how they put this thing back together, realistically, when things go wrong like this, how long does it take to rebuild in the NFL?
Well, it depends on if you actually, commit to the rebuild. A lot of folks want the half measures, and I think you can look and see that some teams maybe got a little lucky playing with house money when they were supposed to rebuild. You look at the Chicago Bears, they are in a rebuild right now. You look at the New York Giants, they're winning all of those close games, or a lot of them, and that's why they're in playoff position. And so the Cardinals, they're going to have a quarterback coming back from an ACL. Hopefully he's going to be healthy and ready for week one. They may have a new head coach. That means a new offensive system. That means a new offensive system for Kyler Murray that he has to learn while recovering from that ACL surgery. And then you have a defense that has some good parts, but also lacks a great deal, especially on the back end. So I look at this team, this Cardinals team, and I don't think that there's a quick fix to get them in contention for an NFC title right now. That said, could they get back into the playoffs where you see who knows what's going to happen with the Niners in their division? Moving forward with their quarterback position, the Seattle Seahawks, maybe they're a little lucky right now. Maybe the bloom's coming off that rose just a little bit. And then, of course, the Rams, they have a lot of questions that they themselves have to answer this offseason. So it's possible, but I don't think that this is an Arizona Cardinals team that even with some decent fixes is really going to be an NFC title contender in 2023.
And do you think a guy like Sean Payton looks at this situation and says he would like to jump all over that and come in and fix things, or other situations that have not popped open yet, namely in Denver and Los Angeles, may be more attractive to him if he has his choice?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the worst kept secret around the league is that he has his eye on the LA Chargers. And it's sort of an underreported story of how sort of a lot of coaches don't like to talk about jobs and that they're interested in when other people in that coaching fraternity currently occupy those seats. Everyone knows that Sean Payton is very interested in the LA Chargers job. Perhaps Denver, TBD on that. I think if he's looking at the quarterback, I'm not sure that is super appealing to him. But in Arizona, you do have a young quarterback. If you believe in Kyler Murray, then I think that offers you the best opportunity, especially when you consider, again, the good pieces that they have there. They just haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah, and Michael Bidwell would have to write a pretty hefty check with the contract extensions for Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim. So does that more lend itself to an in-house thing where Adrian Wilson, Quentin Harris take over? Or is there any big GM name out there that might want to take a crack at it here in Arizona?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up about the sort of checkbook. I mean, Michael Bidwell and the Arizona Cardinals are not known to spend a whole lot of money. That's why the contract extension spree that he went on this offseason was a little surprising, or at least that's part of the reason why it was so surprising. Another part of it was, why didn't you just let everybody, the trio of them, play out in what was essentially a contract year in 2022? But, Cliff Kingsbury, if he is to be fired, I believe would be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Then he'd have some offset money in his contract, so Bidwell wouldn't have to pay out the entire contract. Steve Keim, they're going to have to figure out that contract situation as well. And so, yeah, you want to land a big fish like Sean Payton. I don't know that you're going to get a top GM candidate to come in there, because Sean is going to pretty much run the program. So depends on, you're writing a big check somewhere. And if it goes to Sean Payton, I would probably lean a little bit more internal than a big fish externally.
All right, speaking of writing monster checks, you actually we turn our attention to the Phoenix Suns now, and I think you're the only one that we know of that has talked to the new Suns owner, Mat Ishbia, who reportedly is purchasing the team, and it just got to be approved by the NBA Board of Governors. Your Real Sports Report went and watched the trailer, and I've got that set to watch as soon as I'm done wrapping Christmas presents. But you went into his company, you met him, you talked to him. What was it like getting to know him a little bit?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. My first story with HBO Real Sports was a look at Mat Ishbia, who was a bench warmer for the Michigan State Spartans when they won the 2000 national championship team. And he really used a lot of what he learned under Tom Izzo at Michigan State to build up his dad's mortgage company. When he started there was about a dozen employees or so. He's built it into the largest wholesale mortgage lending company in all of America. I spent 3 days at the sprawling campus there outside of Detroit, in and around Pontiac, Michigan. And it's pretty impressive. I'm not big into mortgages. I don't know many people who absolutely love mortgages. This guy lives and breathes mortgages, and he has 7,000 or so employees who all love it as equally as he does. It was really interesting to see the passion that everyone there had. He puts people on shot clocks where, hey, you got 2 minutes to make your point. But I saw him walk around to various cubicles, and he has his team captains, he calls them, who create huddles every morning, trying to give their team sort of the message for the day. And then everybody goes out and they hop on the phones, and there is a reason, and there is a formula, a tried and true formula that he's put into place that has made UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, the #1 wholesale mortgage lending company in the country.
Did you get a sense as you were talking to him how much he was looking to acquire an NBA franchise and how much basketball's in his blood?
So basketball's absolutely in his blood. They still do pickup games every summer with the interns. And so it's Mat Ishbia and Mateen Cleaves, a couple other guys. Charlie Bell played on that Michigan State team. He actually works at UWM as well.
Mo Peterson is Mo Peterson. I'm going to name the whole starting lineup here, but yeah, I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, no Mo Pete over there, but no, it was really cool to learn that. And it's not like, oh, we're going to take some interns and the other interns get the Michigan State players. No, it's Michigan State players versus the interns every summer. So there's a real culture of competition there that he breeds. Now, I did talk to him about his potential of owning a franchise, and it became very clear that he was going to own an NBA or NFL franchise within a year. And I was with him back in October. I didn't know it was going to happen this quickly, though not at all surprised. And so there's the Phoenix Suns, reportedly $4 billion, obviously getting the Phoenix Mercury as well. He was in on the Denver Broncos, and he just missed out on that bid of $4.65 billion. So I know that the $4 billion number seems very high to people. I took that number to mean that he wanted to make sure he wasn't going to miss out on this franchise. So he may have paid a premium, if you consider $4 billion to be a premium. I certainly do. But I do think that he's going to be a really, really good owner, as much as one can prognosticate that.
All right, and what's your next piece of Arizona sports news you can go ahead and break for us here? I mean, you got the Sun. You got any Diamondbacks news or any Arizona Coyotes or Sun Devils news?
Yeah, just hang tight. I'm going to have a bombshell report on the Sun Devils soon enough.
All right. Tell us a little bit more about Real Sports, if you could, with, I mean, you said that's your first report. I mean, so going, you covered what the Panthers in Charlotte for a while in the NFL and worked your way up to CBS, and you're the insider there. And how does your real sports job work? You just go and you'll spend 3 days on a subject and put together the piece that way?
Yeah, maybe a week, maybe a couple months. Real sports is really unique. I've been watching it since I was a kid. It's the gold standard in journalism, and so very fortunate to be a part of the family there. And so, any story can take any number of forms, right? I mean, one of my favorites was on Sherpas at Mount Everest. So I don't think that would just be a 3-day trip if I were to get something like that. So. But yeah, no, I've been covering the NFL now for the past 11 seasons, Charlotte Observer, Sports Illustrated, now CBS, and was very fortunate to get in touch with HBO and do that as well as do my CBS duties.
Well, I can't wait to watch. Can't wait to watch more reports coming up here. And give my best to Bryan Gumbel. My grandmother was a big fan. So have you sat in the studio with him? Has he taken off the glasses and asked you the questions yet?
And scribbled the notes and asked me the questions.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny when I told folks that I was doing real sports and that the first one was coming out last month, the first question that I got from everyone was exactly the question you just asked.
Oh, that's great. That means you've made it. Congratulations. So,
thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate it. The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS 5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.